A few weeks later, Mash had a broomstick challenge coming up, so he asked Finn if he could borrow his broomstick because instead of buying a broomstick, Mash bought a burdock accidentally. Finn is disappointed by Mash's stupidity but allows him to borrow his broomstick. Mash calls him a great friend. During class, the teacher introduces everyone to their objective of the day and everyone begins calling forth their broomstick to start flying. Mash looks at his broomstick and commands it to fly, but it doesn't listen, so he continues commanding it to fly. A kid comes up and asks him why he is not even able to fly a broomstick, so Mash strikes the ground with his foot to make the broomstick fly and then commands it to fly. He thinks Mash was cheating and challenges him to a race on the broomstick. What Mash doesn't know is that this kid is the best broomstick rider in the entire academy. The teacher wonders how this klutz from yesterday's class is even able to fly and commands them to begin the race. Mash instantly finishes the race and the guy wonders where he went wrong in his life. The teacher is impressed by his speed to set a world record. A mysterious man viewed this happening and Finn knows the truth about how Mash was able to outdo the student in the broomstick race. The student accuses Mash of cheating, but Mash tells him to face the facts already because he feels bad for him. Infuriated, the student is about to start yelling at Mash, but a magical ability restrains his mouth. The blonde kid comes and apologizes on his friend's behalf. His name is Cavill and everyone in the class fears this guy. Cavill asks him if he would like to be friends and introduces himself, but Mash thinks he looks like a potato cabbage. Cavill tries to shake hands with him, but the teacher tells him to piss off already and stop interrupting the class. So Cavill tells Mash to come see him here after school. Outside of class, Cavill beats up his friend for embarrassing him and not following orders, but at least he found a fun toy. While walking with Finn, Mash asks him who this Cavill is and why everyone is afraid of him. Finn reveals that his father is inside the Bureau of Magic, the most important entity in this world. Finn goes on to reveal that Cavill has close ties with the vice principal, so they will expel him if he defies Cavill. This is why everyone obeys him and they're all scared. After school, Mash prepares cream puffs while wearing a pink apron because he's a fan of blank pink and he wishes his grandpa would taste his freshly baked cream puffs. Mash feels like he's forgetting something, but his cream puffs were too important. The next day in class, Mash's notebook is all torn, and Cavill's minions laugh at him. Cavill approaches him and asks him why he didn't show up yesterday. Cavill reveals he's heard that Mash wants to become a divine visionary and promises to put a good word in for him. His only condition is to follow his orders, so Mash goes on to do every single thing that Cavill requests in him. Finn notices still his notebooks are being torn up and Mash asks Finn for his notebooks. Finn tries to reject, but Mash instantly teleports and takes his notebook and calls him a lifesaver. He hands him some cream puffs as a thank you and then goes on to say that he's really glad to have a great guy like Finn as his friend. Mash continues obeying all of Cavill's orders, so Cavill pours water right in front of him and asks him to clean it up. Mash considers the situation and decides to clean it up anyway. After a while, he is impressed by how well he cleaned it. While getting up, Finn's notebook drops from his coat. Cavill says he's getting bored of textbooks, so he commands Finn to burn Mash's clothes. Finn apologizes because he can't do this anymore, begging Cavill to end this, but Cavill uses his magical abilities, strains him and makes him get on his knees to apologize. Mash walks to give Finn his notebook back, but then what he sees before him shocks him. Mash asks Cavill what he's doing and he tells Mash that he's just getting an apology. Mash walks toward Finn and asks him if he's okay. Finn tells him that he's alright but begins crying, saying that he was the one who's been ruining his notebooks this entire time. He's been too scared to disobey, but when he heard him saying that he's been a great friend, he could not handle it anymore. He just wanted to apologize to Mash and Cavill wishes he would have gotten such a sincere apology. Afterward, he reveals that he's going to dine with the vice principal and tells Mash to ditch this lackey before he misses his chance. Mash walks towards Cavill, grabbing his hair and smashing his head into the ground, knocking him unconscious. Cavill's friends are shocked and Mash doesn't care if he's expelled. He then realizes that he does care if he's expelled. The vice principal appears, telling him that he witnessed this entire incident. It was a violent attack and both Mash and Finn will have to deal with the consequences, and since they're of different status, they will also have a different treatment. He will enlighten the idiots, but Mash rushes forward and gives him a fierce roundhouse kick. The vice principal vows to expel Mash right at this instant and uses his magic wand, but Mash shoves his face with dirt. He goes on to dig the ground behind him, carrying him and tossing him into the pit and begins burying him. If he can expel Mash at any time, then Mash can also bury him whenever he wants. Even if he throws Mash in prison or cuts his body, he will crawl and bury him. Later on, Mash is summoned before the headmaster. The principal asks him if he knows why he's here. He then tells him that he can't go around burying the vice principal and punching Cavil. He has an order to expel him from the Bureau of Magic, the highest legal authority in this world. Divine visionaries are the ones running this bureau, which means Mash has done something unforgivable. The headmaster takes the paper and burns it, saying that it's more unforgivable to punish the ones who care. This is the reason he became the headmaster, to make sure this injustice doesn't continue passing. His only hope is that a person like Mash will one day become a divine visionary, but Mash reveals that he's already dedicated to becoming one. The headmaster loves this spirit and goes on to try to teach Mash how to become one, but after only 7 seconds of explanation, Mash passes out from information overload. The headmaster tries to wake him up and tells him to just do well in his classes to get as many coins as possible. At the same time, the headmaster promises that he will do everything to protect him from the Bureau of Magic. There is one more problem that Mash will inevitably have to face, but the headmaster is confident that Mash will be able to overcome it. The next day, Mash walks with Finn, and while teaching him how to create a cream puff, a guy comes up and asks him if he would like to have a duel so they can burn in this fire that we call life. His name is Tom, and all the girls go crazy over him. Mash wonders what this guy has been planning, so the guy reveals that they will be competing using their broomsticks. Tom grabs Mash, telling him that they're counting on him to be at the game tomorrow. He tells him to shoot for the stars because even if he misses, he'll land among his dreams. Mash realizes he's found someone denser than him. At the match the next day, Mash tries to tell them that he can't ride a broomstick. Then the match begins and everyone begins flying around to pass the ball. However, everyone in the stands realizes that Mash is not flying and begins throwing stuff at him and telling him to go home, and Mash also wants to go home.